I'm also very nervous. I've learned so much today, and my brain is spinning with ideas and lots more things about positive education, about relational learning. Very exciting, thank you. So as Judy said, I'm interested in reflective and arts-based practices for soulful language learning, very much part of Judy's exploration, I think, of joyful learning. And due to the COVID-19 crisis, I really found an anchor. It's all about making connections. So I'm going to start off with a value statement. This was a really important experience for me. When I started this course, I didn't really know what I was doing with action research, and basically I want to say thank you for his opening introduction to that book, which introduced me to the notion of values-based learning, which I think is absolutely terrific and is helping me sort of define what's important in my teaching and learning experience. So this is my values statement. So language learning should be a soulful experience anchored firmly in the present. It should inspire students to learn with authenticity, creativity, and integrity, and help them find their voice and place in the target language and culture. And this without fear of making mistakes. Focus should be the participative experience itself. It's the journey, not the journey that counts. So, sorry, I'm just going to start the slideshow. Actually, I have not just started my slideshow. That's how nervous I am. I'm really sorry, guys. So, what's the context of that exploration? So what's the context for this value statement? For me, it's in the EPC program. That's our English Professional Communication program. And for Dr. Whitehead, who isn't perhaps familiar with what we do here, we have mostly international students, we have a maximum of 25 adult ones in our classroom from very diverse cultural and educational backgrounds. And most of them are new to remote learning, and obviously I'm interested in what's happening right now, and it's a very stressful time. So they also have very mixed knowledge of how to learn. We have everybody from PhD holders to homemakers in our groups, and perhaps something that's very present in this time of remote learning is this notion of tweaking and plagiarism. And that is a problem, I think, for some of our students, especially at the more advanced levels, when I think they really do feel the pressure or the desire, very strong desire to pass their course, and perhaps they don't have the time or the perhaps the ideal circumstances at home to avoid that. My personal motivation is really to improve my confidence in remote instruction. I started teaching in a very different platform that was part of Health Canada, and I thought that no, it's not for me. And what I'm realising is with the adoption of Zoom and my courses working in parallel, is that I'm actually finding my place in teaching in this online environment, and I'm finding it very exciting. So I want to identify and explore best practices for Zoom in my courses in remote contexts, and of course offer students more creative routes to learning. For me as well, it's an excellent opportunity to update task-based activities and assignments to better fit the new social culturalities, as well as this remote learning format. And for this project, obviously that's been so inspiring because it's such a valuable time for reflection and learning. So my purpose then is to explore how reflective and participative arts-based practices can enhance language learning, promote learner autonomy, and create community connections in remote learning environments. What that means in terms of questions, where that comes from is the fact that such practices, they can help students to learn how to learn. They can improve their metacognition and help them gain insight into their own individual learning processes. And in a workplace context, such as, for example, the Health Canada programme, it could be very important, especially reflective learning, as a means to problem solving and work-related problems, issues in their own personal praxis. And in the context of EPC, in my personal classes, it's I think it can really help them to relate to and express themselves about social cultural themes, and of course create a sense of community. Now these are my initial search questions. I would like to continue into future cycles, and my first question is, how can I align my values with my pedagogy in remote learning contexts? I'm also interested in how I can help my students adapt to a remote learning environment and to find their voice in English. I feel that I'm just finding my voice in this remote learning context, and I think some of these activities that I'd like to explore with them can also help them with their autonomy, their learning autonomy beyond the programme, which I believe is very important to the majority of the students when they're coming to the end of the certificate programme and hopefully moving into the workplace with their English. Now, in the future, I think we'll skip that, but I'm interested in future in future cycles. Now, I would like to initially try a qualitative approach, but in future cycles explore quantitative data as well. I'd certainly like to work with surveys and polls, but that's in the future cycle. But for now, I'm really interested in students' writing and reflection. That's going to be part of the curriculum, and to explore my own best practice audit trail and journal, to explore how I can improve my teaching by watching the class recordings. Now, another source of inspiration for me during this time have been, and for me, really constitute best practices, have been some of the communications, memos and emails that have come from the department, from HR, from Sarah, from the Dean, from our IT services during the COVID crisis. I feel that obviously Judy and Michael and Luan Jin, they've also done their best to adapt and to support us during this time, and I think we've got some really valuable evidence there to help us, perhaps as a department, identify best practices in online and remote situations. I also want to work with self-observations and observations of my critical friends as to how I'm nurturing autonomy, voice and community in my classes. I would really appreciate feedback on the assignments that I'm developing, and also on my teaching approach, perhaps on my course design as well. Now, possible constraints. Well, one constraint that has been lifted is the generosity and trust that I have been shown from Margaret in the fact that she has said yes with great encouragement for me to pilot these activities across 421 and 422 this session. Obviously, I have ethical permissions that I need to seek for further cycles of research. Time is always an element, and continuity for me in the programme is the question of when will I be teaching these courses again. It might not be until next summer, who knows. So that's a reality in my own current context. Now, what kind of activities do I want to be doing and exploring to explore whether there is a need or a desire, or whether these can help students? Blogs and online discussions on socio-cultural themes, learning journals, preparatory blogs as a means of using that as a safe space to develop their writing skills that can help them produce more accurate work when it comes to an officially evaluated assignment. Dialogical journaling, especially on learning strategies, could be very interesting as well between student instructor and student. And inspired by Judy and her writings, and what I've learned during the course is combination of métissage and portraiture, but portraiture that can also take place on a written level, on a spoken level, and that's very exciting. And thanks to Judy, I think this notion of values-based learning really allowed me to find myself a lot as a course designer, in a sense, because I always start off with drawings and notes, and I think I am an artist. At the heart of me is an artist, and it's trying to come out. And I think these are very, very valuable traces when it comes to following my thought process. So I found great comfort in the action learning process. Now, anticipated outcomes, well, hopefully, what will result is a soulful teaching and learning experience. I definitely want to create a safe space for autonomous learning and self-expression so that students can leave our programs with great confidence. I also want to, hear my voice resonate in my pedagogy and help my students find theirs in English. And for me, I think the most thing that, what is coming out of this is not just an anticipated outcome. It's what I'm trying to develop at the moment is a studio-based practice for arts-based language learning. I think there's space for this. I hope there's space for this in our programs, and it's certainly something that I'd like to continue developing. It's a kind of sort of live from the writer's studio kind of idea, a way of really engaging students in that kind of framework. Now, reflections on learning. Oof. It was a really difficult learning experience for me. I'm new to online learning, and then when I started reading, I think this whole notion of values-based learning just made my head explode. It was such a, it came at a time when perhaps I'm reevaluating my values, and with the arrival of COVID-19 and this lockdown, it's certainly been it's changing how I see the world, changing how we work, and unfortunately I get carried away with the reading, so there was certainly more work than I could handle at times, and I got very tearful, and I just want to say thank you to everybody for allowing, for creating such an amazing atmosphere, so that I felt safe enough to be vulnerable. And for me, that's been very, very important in my own personal development as well. It's learning to express myself, even though I feel vulnerable, which is very healing and wonderful. For me, it was an excellent forum for pedagogical exchange and for learning about best practices and new ideas. I've got to know more about colleagues that I thought I knew very well. When for example, Cheryl, I know that Cheryl's been doing a lot of work with pronunciation. She's somebody I admire very much in the department, but to get behind her thinking, understand a little bit more about where that expertise is coming from, it's so exciting. For me as well, it was, I think in future, this was a pilot program, and I think obviously there are things that can be changed with the curriculum, whatever, or to make it, I don't know what can be changed. For me, it was really, really satisfying, but this kind of professional development opportunity, it couldn't have come at a better time. I feel at home in LIC once more, and this project has gone very much, has really helped me to feel included again in a very healthy, very dynamic working environment, and that's very exciting. And I think perhaps personally, it's helped me get in touch with and draw on my values at a time of tumultuous change, and for me it was a very, very meaningful experience. I don't have a thank you slide, and I don't have any thank yous, official thank yous, but I want to say thank you to everybody in this room for making